Hey, this is Andrew Brown. In this video, what I want to do is start working with DALL-E. So DALL-E is a model that generates out images, and we can do this either in Azure AI Studio or OpenAI Studio. I'm going to do this in OpenAI Studio here today. If for whatever reason this is the future and OpenAI Studio is not available, you can absolutely do this in Azure AI Studio. So on the left-hand side, you're going to see that there are images. And I need to remind you that if you have yet to do so, you need to make sure that you have in the model catalog gone in here and request access for models. Now, I just went across the board and said, give me access to everything. I think that if you fill in one, it basically gives you access to the entire family. So you might not need to fill in all the forms. But the point is that I've already done that. And so I can access DALL-E. So in order to utilize it, I'm going to need to deploy something. And over here it says Azure OpenAI resource located in West US region. Images is only available in the following: East US, Sweden, Central, and stuff like that. So I run into this issue all the time where certain models are available in one place and not another. So in this case, I'm just going to go make another one. And I know it's frustrating, but it's just the way it is. It's not like it's going to cost us more money by spinning these up, so it's not a big deal. I meant to go to portal.azure.com. Not a big deal. Portal.azure.com. And so I'm going to make my way over to OpenAI Studio or OpenAI here. And we'll just spin up another one here. And we'll say, I'm just going to put in the same resource group because I don't need to have a bunch of these. We'll just go OpenAI Studio. And this one's going to be in East US. Okay. So let's just be OpenAI Studio East and just put some numbers here. I'm just going to choose the standard. We'll go ahead and hit next, next, next. And I'll go ahead and hit review and create. And the reason I wanted West US is because there is another step where we're going to fine tune a model, and that only works in West US or Sweden. So we're just going to have this issue of figuring out which place we can utilize that model. So we'll just wait a moment for this to provision. All right, let's go take a look at that resource now. So we'll just click into here. And from here, we'll go to OpenAI Studio. And I do have the other one open just in case we want to use Azure AI Studio. But for the most part, we want to do this in OpenAI Studio here. And so on the left-hand side, we'll go to Images. And we'll give it a moment. And so the idea is that we have DALL-E 2. I could have swore there is DALL-E 3. And it really depends maybe on what we have deployed. But here I haven't chosen any deployment. It's just showing me DALL-E 2 here. But we can go ahead and give this a try. So I'll say Torrigate on the moon. That was something I was trying before. It had a really hard time with it, DALL-E 2, as not necessarily the moon, but if I told it to make it like a wood block, I don't know why. It just really had a huge struggle. But yeah, there's Torrigate on the moon. And there are a few options here, like the number of images and the size. What's interesting is between the models, like DALL-E 2 and DALL-E 3, the options actually change, which is interesting. But here I'm just generating out a few more. And so that's going to work there. There we go. So imagine we want to use something newer like DALL-E 3. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's right here. Okay, so we can go here and I'll click on this. And so this is DALL-E 3. I'm going to go ahead and hit deploy. And available quota is low for this model in this region subscription. You can try and create this deployment, but you may face some issues with performance. And that's fair. So we'll go ahead and do that. I mean, East US is the most popular region, so at least where I am, so I can understand why that might be the case. And now that that model is deployed, we'll go over here to images. We'll drop this down and choose DALL-E 3. And we will say Torrigate on the moon. And notice that the options are a little bit different. We have vivid, natural. So maybe we'll try one in vivid first. And we'll just say Torrigate on the moon. And notice I said on the moon, and none of these are really on the moon, but maybe this one will do a bit better. And we'll go ahead and just say save here and try this. It says, if you created the deployment in the last 5 minutes, please wait a moment. So we'll just wait a little while, and then maybe our deployment will be ready, okay? All right, so I've waited a few minutes here. Let's go ahead and see if we can generate that out. And I mean, it seems like it's complaining less now. It's taking its time to generate it out, so we'll give it a moment to generate. DALL-E 3 does take longer to generate than DALL-E 2, but the idea is that the results are generally nicer. And so that actually makes a lot more sense contextually. So DALL-E 3, huge difference there. Let's go ahead and try just standard. Okay. And I don't really know how much compute's behind these things. So, I mean, these models seem to run serverless. So they generate when they want to generate there. Not as nice, but, you know, closer to what we want. So I'm going to go back to Vivid here. And I wonder if we can get the code and see if we can utilize this. Now, I've had some poor success getting this to work prior, but we're going to go ahead and launch this up in our environment here and see if we can programmatically work with it. So I'm just, I think it's starting. We'll start that up. And once that's started, we're going to try to programmatically generate out DALL-E images, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and launch Jupyter Labs. You know the routine probably at this point. Depending on how many times you've done this, we'll go ahead and hit build. In this course, we do this a lot. So I'll work in this environment here. And still have some tabs open from before. Going to go to our AI folder. Just understand you might have to go all the way back here, go to AI. And of course, if you're looking for this code, it will end up in the GitHub exampro co / Azure examples. I always upload these at the end. So if you're looking for them, you can find them there. We're going to make one here and just say DALL-E. I'm not going to specify that it's DALL-E 3. We're just going to call it DALL-E. And in here, we will double click and make a new notebook and give it a moment to load here. And we'll drop this down here and choose the SDK 310. And I'll just say DALL-E. There we go. And so hopefully this code works. And I'm saying this before I use this, didn't work out as expected. So I'm hoping this time it just works. And maybe the reason it didn't work was because of that issue of maybe too many people were using it at the time. So I like to break mine into individual components so I can really see what I'm doing. Okay, and we'll add one more here. And I mean, we're importing it, but we'll probably also need to install it. I'm not sure what the Python package is called here. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look. Maybe it's just OpenAI. I mean, this is OpenAI for sure, but this one in particular is Azure OpenAI. So we're here on the repo here, so I'm just going to search Azure OpenAI. That's probably what it's called. Let's make sure that's the case. I can't tell. It's from someone named Ryan. That makes me question it quite a bit. How to install. They really should give us all the instructions and not just some of them. I can't stand it when they do that. They don't give you all of the information. But maybe I can go over to here. Maybe I can click this and it might tell me. There it is. Oh, it is pip install OpenAI. I really thought it would say Azure OpenAI, but well, apparently it's just, okay, all right. So we'll go ahead and do this and hit run. And there's a couple things we're going to want here. We're going to want our endpoint and our API key. So we'll just go, whoops. That one is doing that. So we're going to just wipe this out here and say endpoint. This one will be API key. And I have a feeling that I'm going to have much better success this time around. I don't know why. I just think I am. If we go back here, they're making these available. This just looks like it's the OpenAI endpoint. So this is the same endpoint for, for OpenAI. So if we were to go, let me just find a tab that actually is in regular Azure. There's none of them that are there. So I'll have to go over here and just say portal.azure.com. But what it's getting for the endpoint is the OpenAI service. So if we go over to OpenAI and we're here, and I think we're at East right now, it is basically the same information here, the under security, networking, resource management, key endpoint. So it's going to be this key and that endpoint. That's all it's doing over here. So I'm going to grab this one here and paste it in. And so we'll run this. And then we'll run this. And then we'll run this. And so we have this. Okay, great. But this doesn't necessarily save the image anywhere. Okay, and so that one is thinking. And, you know, I might, while I'm waiting here, I might just go ask Sonnet to help me. I use Claude Sonnet quite a bit. And I want to save the image, and I just don't want to have to figure that part out. I hate working with files, file formats here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this and say I'm doing this over here in Sonnet, as you can see over here. Okay. And again, just doing this off screen here. Give me a moment here. Now I'll drag this over. Okay, and so I'm going to paste this in here. All right, so now I don't really want insights from it, but I just wanted it. Okay, it's going to write it out to me. Okay, give me the code that I would need to save the image to the current folder. Okay, let's see if it understands that. Not maybe the best written, but hopefully it'll provide that for us. And looking at that, response code, etc. It looks okay. Hopefully that works. And I like how it gave me a timestamp. That's really nice. Okay, and so here we get a result. We'll go ahead and run this now. And I'm just going to go into the next line. I just want to print this out and see what we get here. Image URL. We'll say this. So there we have it. Okay, cool. Now, can I just download it? Is this publicly available? I'm not sure. It says private images. At least it placed it somewhere, so we know that it is somewhere. I'll run this. This may not work because of permissions issues. I'm not sure. And so here it says request is not defined. Fair enough. We need to import that. So I'm going to go here. And also we might need date time as well. This I'm just copying from the code over here if you're wondering where I'm grabbing that. And so we'll run this again. Image is saved. Oh, I should have probably told it where I wanted it to go. I wasn't being very, oh, there it is. Anyway, it's in the same place. That's fine. Let's just click it, see if it opens. I think we can preview images in Jupyter. There we go. So it works. Excellent. So I wasn't sure if that was going to work, but it did. I'm going to go ahead and just delete this. I don't need it. And so we will consider this done. So I'm just going to clear out my credentials here, and I'm going to say restart and clear all outputs, restart. And I'm going to go ahead and download this. And we'll go over to GitHub, over to our Azure examples, and I'm going to hit period here on my keyboard. Okay. And we'll give it a moment. We're going to go ahead and make a new folder. And I'm going to call this one DALL. And so in here, I will upload this. And so if you want to just work with this code, because you know that for sure it worked for me and you want it to work for you, you can absolutely utilize that. Let me just drag this one on over. And it didn't clear my outputs. It did not clear my outputs. So that is not what I wanted. Just going to go ahead and delete that. Also, I don't think I even went to the right folder either. Okay, well, give me just a moment here. We'll go back over to here. Oh, you know what? I had to save the file. That was my problem. Okay, so we'll download this again. And I'm going to go back over to here, and I'm going to make a new folder called DALL. And it's not really that big of a deal if I share my credentials in here, because they are going to get cleared out anyway, but sometimes GitHub will lock down your account. It's kind of annoying, like for your benefit, right? And I don't want to have that issue there. So that is now saved. We'll just go ahead and say DALL 3 example. We'll commit and push. And I just want you to know that in AI Studio, it's the exact same kind of experience, even though we don't have a project here right now. We'll probably do something in Azure AI Studio at some point or explore some of those features. But for now, so this is Azure OpenAI Service. Yeah, for now, we're just going to stick with OpenAI, right? Okay. But yeah, that's it for that. And if you're concerned about the model, you can undeploy it. So I'm going to go down to deployments here. And I think this is our West US one. So I'll go just click out of this one. I'm going to go down to deployments. And I'm going to go ahead and delete this here just so that I'm not worried about it. And so that one is now gone. And I'm going to keep this around. I'm going to end up cleaning this up later on, the OpenAI Studio. But because I might need to switch between regions, I just want to keep this one here. So I'm not having to create one every time I want to do something, okay? But see you in the next one. Ciao.